Save big on the biggest brand tires. Where else? You're participating Big O Tires. Now through September 22nd, get up to $70 off select sets of Michelin and BF Goodrich brand tires. Plus, get up to an additional $120 in mail-in rebates on qualifying purchases using your Big O Tires credit card. Only at Big O Tires, the team you trust. Not valid with other offers. Disposal fees extra. Up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted retail price. Not to exceed $35 where permitted. For the store nearest you, go to bigotires.com.
SportsBeat KC, sponsored by Big O Tires, is Facebook Live. Sam Mellinger, Sam McDowell, and Vahe Gregorian join me, Blair Kerkhoff, to discuss the Chiefs' 28-10 victory over the Raiders on Sunday. The Chiefs scored all their points in the second quarter, but that was more than enough. Thanks to Kathy Lou and Leah Pacera for producing this episode, and thanks to Rich Sugg, our photographer, for shooting the Facebook Live. Hey, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review us, and you can catch us on the Kansas City Star's YouTube channel. Our stories can be found in the show notes on kansascity.com and on the Red Zone Extra app. And now that all that's out of the way, have a listen to SportsBeat KC while I watch the maintenance workers here at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum take down the football stadium here to get the field ready for the Oakland A's, who start a 3-game series with the Kansas City Royals on Monday night. Welcome to the Chiefs postgame Facebook Live from Oakland, the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, where I'm here with my friend Sam and my other friend Sam Mellinger, Sam McDowell, Rich Sugg spinning the dials behind the camera. Good to be with you. We just saw the Chiefs defeat the Oakland Raiders 28-10. And guys, I got to tell you, after the first quarter, I was starting to look up lowest passing total for Mahomes in his career. He had 35 yards of passing in the first quarter. I kind of thought, okay, it's not his day. Not going to be his day. Not the Chiefs' day. Down 10-0. Oakland came here with a lot of momentum from the Monday night win. The place was rocking.
It really was.
Really was rocking. Yeah. And then the second quarter happened, and I'm not sure I've seen a blitz quite like what we saw today with the Chiefs.
It was unbelievable. I mean, you're right. They were sort of on the precipice of a really bad spot, and he threw for 278 yards and 4 touchdowns in the second quarter.
In the quarter.
I mean, I don't know how many full games, and, you know, I'm not trying to dump on Alex Smith, but how many full games did Alex Smith have that was that productive?
I bet not 10.
Yeah.
You know, not 10 in his Chiefs career as a Chiefs starter.
He had a stretch of 6 passes that went for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns.
At the end.
Yeah, at the end of the quarter. In 6 passes.
It was stunning to see. It was stunning. And a beneficiary of a lot of this today was Demarcus Robinson, who until today had 4 career touchdowns, did not have a 100-yard receiving game, and didn't have as many as 5. He had 5 was his career high receptions in a game. And he goes for 6 catches, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Sam McDowell, I know you wrote about him. It's kind of tough to pull some good quotes out of Demarcus Robinson. He's a nice guy and he's really sincere.
Yeah.
But man, he brought it today.
Yeah, and I think what probably stood out most about him was something actually that Mahomes had said, which is that he noticed right off the bat that the Raiders were just going to try and take away Sammy Watkins. And that opened the door for other guys. We saw McCole Hardman have a touchdown, and Demarcus Robinson, like you said, just had a huge day. And the play that obviously stands out the most, because on the first touchdown, he was just wide open.
Right.
I mean, any of us could have made that play. On the second touchdown right before the half, you don't think you could have? Are you doubting me or are you doubting yourself?
I'll let the viewer decide.
Okay. On the second touchdown, though, Mahomes looks for him. He shuffles that way, throws that way, and Robinson has a step, but the pass is actually behind him if we want to find a criticism of Mahomes during his 278-yard quarter. But the pass is behind him, and Robinson has to make an adjustment, bangs against the dirt, which those of us on the field before the game, the dirt is different than the grass is. It's a very hard surface, and ball doesn't come loose at all. So I thought that was the most impressive play he made on the day.
I thought that Mahomes, first of all, he had time today, which was critical because he's still laboring a little bit on the ankle. He said all week that it wasn't bothering him, was getting better, progressing every day. But the fact that he didn't tuck it and run at all today. In fact, had opportunities, and then, of course, he said after the game that he had a chance to make a block. In the second half, he got out of the way.
I remember that play.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. He wasn't going to make a block, not on his ankle. But he stood in the pocket, and even though the Chiefs were a little shuffled on the offensive line, Eric Fisher started the game, had missed practice or didn't finish practice Friday because of a groin injury, tried to go today, couldn't go, so Cam Irving came in and played left tackle. I thought they did a pretty good job keeping Mahomes upright and allowed him to do what Mahomes does.
Yeah, I feel like we say a lot of the same stuff about the quarterback after every game, but I don't want to not say it because it's still amazing. And what he does, I'm just trying to think of he makes anything feel possible on the one sideline and in a good way, and then in a very bad way on the other side. And it flips so quickly. I mean, he changed that whole game just with this extraterrestrial talent. And think about this. So he is, you can double check me on this, 55 of 77 for 821 yards, 7 touchdowns and no interceptions. I just looked this up, and there's 4 guys that have thrown for more yards, 5 guys that have thrown for more touchdowns. This is kind of an historic first couple games, and he's done it with being healthy for about a quarter and a half of that. With Tyreek Hill playing a quarter, and with, like you said, with Eric Fisher hurt. It's just the limitations on him have been substantial, and it doesn't matter.
Well, he is otherworldly. I mean, he is. In the second quarter, especially the last few minutes, I just thought he took the game to a level that the Raiders don't recognize. I mean, that's just not ready for it, and it's just a different game that he plays.
Yeah.
That nobody else. I can't say anybody else in the NFL, but we haven't seen anybody in a Chiefs uniform do anything quite like this.
No, I'm sorry, but I forgot which touchdown it was, but it was the 95-yard drive. So maybe that was
the first of the long ones. That was McCole Hardman, I think, finished that one.
And they had that 3rd and 10. And he made one of these crazy Mahomes plays where he steps up and throws that shortstop sidearm fastball.
To Robinson.
It was an unbelievable play. Penalty, wiped out, doesn't count. And then the next play, it's a touchdown. Yeah. It's just
Robinson did a great job on that, holding on to the ball, because he got crushed on that.
He's tough.
Okay, so that was that. I thought that was the penalty that made it 3rd and 20.
3rd and 20.
3rd and 20.
And then they did the
You
touchdown.
don't pick up 3rd and 20s.
No.
Instead, they throw it in the end zone, and Hardman runs under it for
It's
a touchdown.
50-50. 3rd and 20.
Flip a coin.
You can lower the possibility, but you're not going to eliminate it.
They should have converted a 3rd and 14 on the other Hardman touchdown that got wiped out because McCoy didn't set his block up the middle and had to hold.
That's right.
That was the 72-yarder.
Yeah, and think of the stats we'd be talking about now if that block had been set and that play had been made.
I think that was Andy Reid's favorite play, the way he talked about it afterwards, because it was picking up blitzes and recognizing blitzes, and Hardman knew what to do, when he felt it, and ended up, would have been a 72-yard touchdown. He was down celebrating, and as Rich told us, he was in the end zone and got a Corona on his head, a can, I think.
A full can.
Full can of Corona, and the play didn't count. So
Better than a bottle.
It's better than a bottle. So look for that photo. It's on Rich's Twitter account. So Demarcus Robinson was terrific today. McCole Hardman was a feature guy. I mean, as Demarcus Robinson was, McCole Hardman had to step up. Needed the speed. Needed another weapon. I know, Sam. You at one point looked at the stat sheet and said, yeah. Look at the top 3. The top 3 receivers today: Robinson, Hardman, and I forgot Damian Williams. Not Kelsey, Hill, Watkins.
Yeah.
It's doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say about the Hardman thing, Mahomes said something really interesting in his postgame, was that the first couple plays he didn't feel like he was connecting with Hardman, and he told him on the sideline, you got to speed it up. You're doing a couple extra moves to come out of your breaks. You got to make those moves quicker and just speed it up and get to your route. And he thought that's what led to some of his plays later in the game.
I thought that right after that incompletion, it was on the first series, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't pick up a first down, or they picked up a first down, but this would have extended the drive. They didn't get it because Hardman seemed to kind of round out the route instead of a hard
Somebody made
cut.
a move with his head, and
Yeah.
he said, "You can't do that at this level. You've got to play faster."
And I could tell right away that Mahomes, before he even left the field, was kind of coaching him a little bit, and then they went and had a conversation on the sideline.
He's an experienced 24-year-old.
Very wise. Not yet. Next week.
23.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right. I want you want to change topics because so much else happened this game, but that second quarter, that just doesn't happen. It doesn't have. Well, the Chiefs tied a franchise record for 28 points in the quarter. Last week, we found out Mahomes' 211 yards in the first quarter was the second most ever in the first quarter in an NFL game. I don't think we have found out where the second quarter of 278 yards rank, 4 touchdowns. I think it was somebody said that Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns in a 2014 game.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's thrown more than 4 in a quarter.
Derek Carr's never thrown more than 4 in a game. I mean, 4 is his career high in a game. He's never thrown 5 touchdowns in a game. We saw 4 and a quarter today.
So 443 yards for Mahomes passing. It was his second 400-yard game in his career. He threw for like 478 against the Rams in LA last year. And so between this week and next, you alluded to it earlier, Sam, he's over 800 yards passing for the Tuesday, 821. And his second and third best passer rating games of his young career are these first 2 games of the season.
Wow.
So for people who suggested that Mahomes and the offense could be even better this year, I went, yeah, sure, better than the third most prolific scoring team in NFL in NFL history, led the NFL in yards and points. Why not? If they're on the road against a good defensive team in week 1, a team that was kind of fired up in week 2 and really came out of the gates looking strong, the Raiders did, got torched. Someone's going to stop them, right? I mean, maybe.
I mean, how? I just think about this. It does, and it did in the summer make sense to me that the Chiefs could be better if what we think about Patrick and those other guys is true. In other words, if they think, coin flip from the Super Bowl, all this talent, MVP, screw it. We got this. Then maybe there will be a fall. But if the stuff about Pat just being really intelligent and diligent about his work, and not wanting to not just be really good, but to be elite, to be transformative, it makes sense because the Andy Reid offense it stacks, and so. He got a big chunk of it last year, but there's new stuff now.
New stuff.
And there's going to
the good stuff. Yeah, he was holding the good stuff until this year.
Right. So it just looked like I'm not sure that I would have thought that, with the injuries both to him and Tyreek and all that they'd be doing quite this. But it's not that. It's incredible, amazing, unbelievable, whatever. But it's not surprising.
No,
it can't be now, but it's still a frickin' show, and it's so fun watching.
You do wonder just about the run game. I mean, it's hard to criticize anything after what we saw, especially in that second quarter. But you do wonder if at some point they're going to, especially when the games get colder in December and January, if they're going to have to learn how to run the football better.
More effectively. Here they are in the fourth quarter with a 3-score lead. And they're still throwing the ball because that's the best way for them to.
I thought that said a lot, actually, the fact that they're still trying these short passes rather than just trying to run the ball up the middle and run out the clock.
And we thought last week in Jacksonville maybe LaShawn McCoy was going to be that guy, but he had a tough day today. And Damian Williams was, again, more effective out of the backfield as a receiver than he was a running back. But I was praising the offensive line. I thought they did a good job protecting Pat Mahomes. But, unlike last week in Jacksonville, didn't seem to blast open many holes for McCoy and Damian Williams.
I'm actually, we talked about this during the week. I am all in on them throwing 80% or more. I just think that's the way that they can move the ball, and it doesn't make conventional sense. You got to run the ball to set up the pass. You got to run the ball in the playoffs or whatever. But conventional wisdom has never seen this. It's never seen And he's 55 of 77 on the year. I don't know that percentage off the top of my head, but pretty damn good.
Good, very good.
And,
it's in the good zone.
Yes. And those shorter passes,
72.
a lot of times that can be a run.
With this offense, yes.
Yeah, so I think they can do it. And not just that, but I think they should throw the ball 75, 80% of the time. That's their best way to move the ball.
But I have to assign grades after a game, and I got to grade the rushing offense sometimes, every week, and I don't know what to give them because it's just sort of inconsequential.
Yeah. 22 for 32 is what they finished. Yeah.
That's right, incomplete. So Sam McDowell, I'm kind of with you. I think I would, at least in the fourth quarter, bleeding the clock a little bit. You want to see them when everybody knows they're going to run, be able to run, move the sticks. They've done it even with Mahomes last year. I mean, they ran the ball effectively. It is a weapon that I feel like they have if they use it. But Hunt was that guy too.
Yeah, you're right. But Damian Williams averaged, I think, 5 yards a carry filling in for Hunt last year, and he still has been extremely effective on that wheel route that they seem to be using a lot in these first 2 weeks. You wonder if maybe teams will start adjusting to that, but that route was open once down the left sideline that Mahomes went elsewhere with it. Mahomes went elsewhere with it because he couldn't get out of the pocket and had to throw a little 3-yard pass to Kelsey to extend the drive. But that could have been a big play too.
Right. Okay. So a lot in basketball we talk about points per possession. Chiefs points per possession down this week as opposed to last week when they scored on their first 7 possessions. This week they score on 4. Now it's spectacular the way they score and how they score to go 95 and 94 yards on successive drives. That's ridiculous. But in the second half, they only scored in one quarter, as did the Raiders. It's just that when the Chiefs did it, it was just unreal, incredible. I was kind of looking for them to tack on a score in the second half. This is where we are with the Chiefs. 18-point lead, can't tack on, could come back to bite them in New England in December.
443 passing yards, but they couldn't run it.
All right, let's switch sides. Like I said, Chiefs piled all their points up in one quarter. The Raiders did the same thing. First 2 possessions, field goal, go right down the field, field goal, next possession, touchdown, aided by a 43-yard pass interference penalty on the Honey Badger. But Derek Carr took advantage, threw it back in the end zone. Was it Fuller that looked like Fuller slipped or something? And but they got the touchdown. It's 10-0, and you mentioned it, Sam. You were right. It was loud. We had the windows open in front of us here. I've never heard it as loud as I did here, and I just thought, man, this just may not be the Chiefs' day. The Raiders go 4 and out, 3 and out to end the half, and then end of a half. So 4 possessions, they don't score. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are going crazy on offense. And did the Chiefs' defense take a step this week? I think they took a step from the Jacksonville game, but is this a sign of things to come, or just taking advantage of maybe a mediocre team?
Yeah, I talked to a few of the defensive backs about that after the game with Matthew and Breland. Breland I thought had a great day.
I do too.
But he's hitting hard, man.
Yeah, he's a great tackler. We're used to seeing their cornerbacks haven't been great tacklers here. He's a really good tackler, and obviously he had the pick in the end zone. That was a big play. But the Raiders obviously had 15 to 20 plays scripted, like most coaches do, and that resulted in 10 points. And the Chiefs, I think, made most of their adjustments pre-snap. They tried to disguise more. And you saw those first couple drives. The Raiders went sort of a mini no-huddle offense there. They tried to get up and hike the ball as quickly as possible. Well, late in the game, Derek Carr was taking a long time. It was bleeding down under 5 seconds left. And I think it was because he's trying to figure out what the Chiefs are doing pre-snap. So I just thought they did a better job of disguising what they were doing.
Well, I know, Melly, you asked Chris Jones after the game, were they stunting more or twisting more? And I think it was obvious that they were, but you couldn't pry it out of Chris Jones, could you?
He's not going to tell me that. But spoiler alert, I think they were. I'm pretty sure they were. I thought the defense, they got a lucky break. When right in that second quarter, when the game started to get out of hand, was when Josh Jacobs, terrifically talented, rookie running back, went out with like cramps or he went out for the game, and that's when, like you just said, like the game kind of got away from him. But I thought the defense was really damn good. The tackling, and look, like I was even encouraged by last week, just because the tackling was sound and there were some miscommunications in the back that brought the points up and all that. But I just thought like this is like moldable clay that we can work with and see improvement. And today, I don't think the Raiders are very good, but to give up 10 points, on the road, I thought it was really, really good. Again, the tackling was good. They put more pressure on Carr, which I don't think any of us were necessarily expecting just because of how quick they usually get rid of the ball. But Frank Clark blew up some runs. I was impressed. This was a definite step forward.
I don't think he got sacked last year. I know he didn't get sacked by the Broncos, who have Von Miller and Chubb on the outside. He got sacked 3 times today. Back-to-back plays by Fuller and Passanio in the second half, and Chris Jones got him in the first half. And then to have the interceptions on back-to-back series, and it turns out if there was not a turning point, but a moment when the Raiders knew it was over, it was when they got down to the 4 in their first possession of the second half, and John Gruden said after the game, we should have run the ball there, but Carr saw something. I guess he saw the coverage he liked, had Williams on the outside on Rashard Breeland, and I just thought he threw a bad ball. Breeland had good position, made the interception in the end zone, and the spirit left Oakland after that. Obviously, the Chiefs didn't take advantage and score because they were done scoring for the day. But on the next possession, Travarius Ward picks up an interception. So 3 sacks, 2 picks. The Chiefs did lose a turnover. Mahomes lost a fumble in the second half. But all in all, Carr had his passer rating was 61-1, right? That ain't going to win you too many games. So I think kind of quietly the Chiefs had a really solid defensive game today. I don't know if they had one this good on the road a year ago. Maybe somebody will remember one, but I don't know if they played this well defensively on the road last year. So good signs.
I think most different than the last couple of years is there were a lot of complaints about this defense's inability to adjust on the fly and do something different that, hey, this hasn't been working, why do you keep banging your head against the wall here? To see them do something different and all of a sudden a team scores 10 points and you're thinking, here we go again with this defense, are they more like last year than we thought? And then to shut them out for 3.5 quarters, whatever it was, afterwards, I think that's probably the best sign, even more than the entire picture of just giving up 10 points on the road.
So Bobby Harris wanted to know what our thoughts were about Reggie Ragland being inactive for the second straight week.
Reed did answer that on Friday, just said he's sort of the odd man out.
Considers him starter, but,
Reggie was the first guy out of the locker room today, even before we were allowed in there.
He was absolutely the first guy out of the locker room, and he tweeted something right after the game, too, something along the lines of it's going to get better, just kind of an encouragement, maybe a self-encouragement message to fans. But it just is odd to not see him be part of this when he was. We talked a lot about him in the offseason, a guy who might be able to take advantage of the 4-3. But you knew there was trouble ahead for Reggie when he was on the field for a lot of that 4th preseason game up in Green Bay. That wasn't because they were lacking bodies, it's because that's kind of where he was on the depth chart. So I don't know what it means for Reggie, except that they think that they're better off with who they have on the field now.
Assuming that there's nothing sort of off the field or with focus, and we have no reason to think that, but just assuming that that's the case, I just wonder if it's just it's a numbers thing, but also speed. They wanted to get faster. That was Damian Wilson, that was Darren Lee. They wanted to get faster in that area of the field, and that's not Reggie Ragland's strength. And, Anthony Hitchens has a little bit of go on him, for that position. And so I think that's the only thing that I can think of. They're trying to get faster, and he's not fast.
You look at the numbers for the Raiders out of the backfield as far as catching out of the backfield, something that gave the Chiefs a lot of fits. I mean, Washington had 2 for 26, Rashard 2 for 2, and, I mean, that's all they got coming out of the backfield. And, I mean, I think a lot of that's what you're talking about. Just they've got more speed at linebacker with the ability to actually cover running backs this year.
Am I picking a nit to criticize special teams for a couple of block in the backs or holding, whatever it was on the punt returns? Those drives that started at the 5 and the 6 would have started at the 15 or 20 if it weren't for those.
D'Anthony Thomas obviously should have let the one just
yes,
fall
the first
over his
one
head into the end zone.
The first one, I think he fielded at the 5.
Right.
So All right, hey, our Facebook Live is not complete unless there are 4, and Vahe has finished his
Pick it up
column.
off the ground, son.
Yeah, there's a microphone there for you, Vahe. You get the fuzzy one, the cute fuzzy one.
You've been waiting to say that to me all day. Which part, the cute and fuzzy one, or the pick it up off the ground, son? Hi, everybody. Hi,
All right,
everybody.
so you just finished up the column.
Yeah, I did.
What was it?
It was about Patrick Mahomes.
It's funny, we have not mentioned him
I guess
yet.
you guys didn't talk about him at all.
Haven't gotten there.
I thought I'd come in and change it up a little. The thing I enjoyed after the game regarding Patrick was Andy Reid saying Patrick had a nice game. But Andy kind of cracked a couple minutes later when we had a little follow-up. Maybe it was my question, actually. He was because I was kind of like, is this just run-of-the-mill for you by now? And he kind of did this thing where he scrunched up his face a little. It was like, you look at these throws and you kind of go, and then we just kind of go on. But I thought that was Andy, moment of weakness, actually letting us know that he thinks Patrick's kind of special.
A little bit. Well, and of course, whenever he answers one of your questions, it's always with a Vahe.
Vahe.
Hey, Vahe.
Ever since you said that, I've been noticing. I feel like he does it a lot, but I never really thought he did before. But I'm just glad he can say it right.
Well, from now on, if he doesn't mention your name, I'm going to remind him. Hey, that was Vahe, Andy. Did you?
Well, please do.
What else really impressed you about?
Look, I think this. Like you could think there were 5, 6, 7 things kind of going wrong for them, right? And all by the end of the first series. Obviously, coming in the game, you don't have Tyreek. Patrick's ankle's a little something, right? Not quite right. And now Eric Fisher's out, and you got a little bit of flux. And I thought a play that sort of summed up the early part of the game for them was Patrick expecting McCole Hardman to be where he wasn't. And Patrick actually had kind of a good answer on that, too. I mean, he was making the point that actually he shut me down on the question as it being a miscommunication. He basically was like, no, McCole was wrong. He didn't say that, and he would never say it that way, but that ended up being kind of the point. It was like McCole he oversold a fake, or he tried harder than he needed to on a fake, not prioritizing it. He needed to be where the ball needed to be, or where the ball was going to be. And it's funny, we all, I think, remember that play was a sideline pass on the left.
First series,
maybe the third down play.
It was.
And it reminds you of how intricate this is, right?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, they don't look good at all. That wasn't even close. And of course, there probably really was a reason, and everything changed in the second quarter, which I think you guys probably discussed.
Well, it's funny, Vahe, you and I especially talked about how, and I know Sam feels this way too. We all enjoy coming to this venue, and even though it's a tight, cramped quarters here at the Coliseum, we just enjoy being here and covering games, and we know it's the last one, unless somehow the Chiefs are back here in the playoffs. Doubt it.
LOL.
But my mood changed in the first quarter when I couldn't access the internet, and we were all ticked off about.
Yeah, I was cursing this place.
That's right. Lost its charm in the first half, all the way up to halftime, really, with that.
Yeah, and even to now, when I'm sure we'll give them a little inside baseball here. Our system is Q. Did you guys? Were you able to transmit your stories through Q? I had to email. I had to go old school.
Yeah. I mean, that's throughout the game couldn't access Q, but anyway.
But we got in, but the Wi-Fi was a nuisance, and it is a reminder. Maybe you guys talked about this, but there was a Chiefs employee or two today that I used Sam's term "charming dump" to, and they're just like, no, it's just a dump. And it really kind of is, but I'll miss it. I will really miss it, and it was fun to be out on the field today, walking around with Sam McDowell, his maiden voyage here as the last one.
You spent some time in the black hole today.
I did.
And what did you discover in the black hole? You returned, which was a victory in itself.
I was down there for the entire first quarter when they were up 10-0. And I mean, it's kind of probably what you would expect down there. It's loud. There's a lot of alcohol, a lot of cussing, someplace you'd probably never want to take your kid to. But if you're
but there were kids in there.
There's a couple kids in there. But if you're a sports fan, I feel like it's something you absolutely would love. Just being a part of other people that are as passionate as you probably are about, I guess, the Raiders. Or it seemed like they're as passionate about hating other things than they are actually loving what they actually have.
I'm sure there are a few red holes at Arrowhead too. Maybe not as big as the black hole here.
By the way, a lot of them in the parking lot.
Well, yeah. By the way, speaking of that, though, executive producer Rich Sugg, I think, had a moment that crystallized a lot of this with an actual beer can.
Yeah.
Did that hit McCole Hardman?
I think it did.
Yeah, it looked like it had a little velocity, just based on but you caught it frame by frame, coming through.
So they're breaking down the Coliseum behind us for the final time. This will be you're watching. Those who are watching are seeing the football field being converted to the baseball field for the last time in the history of this structure.
We thought it looked like it was being set up for a concert, but of course now you realize they're taking down that entire set of stands. Like, that would be a pretty short porch if they didn't.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's finish this with some final thoughts on the Chiefs, who play at home finally against the Baltimore Ravens, the 2-0 Ravens, next Sunday noon at Arrowhead. Vahe, we'll start with you. Any final thoughts from here?
You guys, I'm sure, talked about it, but I mean, the defense was pretty impressive in the end, and some big plays at big moments, which is what you need. If the Raiders score early in the second half, I think you start feeling it, right? Then they become one touchdown away from making it a game, but those was it back-to-back sacks by Fuller and Tano?
Yeah.
And Breeland's interception, even though I like offense, I think that was interference. I don't think you can do what he did, but it's accepted in the game today, and it was an interception in the scorebook. So impressed by the defense too.
All right, so Sam McDowell, a gambling man, loves to push his chips in occasionally. He's going to enjoy going to Vegas. I know.
Probably more than this place. I think you guys told me it was charming, but tight quarters, and it smelled. And I agree at least with the last two of those. But I don't know that I found the same charm in it being here for the first time that you guys have with it, knowing the history of it.
Well, I'm glad you got to see it, though.
I am glad I got to see it before it's done.
All right. Melly, what wisdom can you share?
I mean, my biggest takeaway, it's basically what I wrote in the column, so it should be my takeaway, right? But that game with the second quarter and the quarterback and all that stuff, Chiefs teams in the past would have been partying in the locker room. The music would have been blaring. They would have been dancing. They would have been, all this stuff. And it was like a business meeting in there, It was like, I mean, they were happy. Like, they're not soulless. And they were joking around a little bit. But it was very clear with the vibe in there that this was step 2 in what they expect to go, not just through week 17, but, a month or so after that. It was just, that part of it just banged through so clearly.
I thought it was reflected in Chris Jones's media meeting. Just usually a upbeat, happy guy.
Yeah.
No, not really.
And they just gave up 10 points.
Right. Had one of their better games.
He's like, we should have had a shutout. Really?
And also, he shut you down on asking. Wasn't that you asking him about stunts?
Yeah.
How did he phrase it? I'm not telling you.
He's not telling me, but they were using more stunts. we know that.
Picked
but
up on that.
That was like Frank Clark said, confident but not complacent. Like everybody who talked, basically like on their own, was bringing up, well, we should have done this, we should have, and with Mitch Schwartz, who's one of my favorite people to talk to in that locker room, I was like, oh man, that second quarter, wasn't that so fun? And he was basically like, yeah, it's cool, but we only had like 20 yards rushing, and I was like, right, but, and he goes, yeah, okay, but it's like, that's where they're at. And that's what it should be. Like, you can tell, and I wrote something like kind of like this, when you're able to get, I know it's not for a long time, but in the locker room, in those moments like we are, you can tell a team that hopes, and a team that expects. Like, you can tell that difference, and this team is clearly different than any other Chiefs team that I've covered here.
As long as 15 stays healthy.
That's right. Yeah.
Keep 1-5 upright.
Yeah. He changes everything, and an injury to him will change everything. Yes.
Don't be blocking people.
Right.
Yeah, that was a highlight. It was his avoidance of the block. Yeah, it was. It really was.
It was interesting whether or not he was referring to he didn't block him just because he was hurt or because it was a bad decision. Because he sort of responded to when I think it was the question, maybe you asked it about his ankle being hurt, if that changed anything, and then he mentions that play. It's like, well, wait a minute. There shouldn't be a player involved in
Under any
100%.
circumstance, right?
If you have a bulletproof vest, you should not be blocking.
But that's a really good distinction, Sam. It's kind of like, well, Patrick, why would you be thinking about that anyway?
I remember him doing it once last year. I remember
did.
him blocking somebody on a whatever it was. I can't remember the play, but as good as this Chiefs offense has been, as with Mahomes at quarterback, I hadn't seen anything like we saw in the second quarter today. That went to a level that I just didn't expect or hadn't seen, or was kind of in disbelief. And they were playing, that offense was playing at a level that nobody plays. You just don't see that.
Without their starting left tackle, without their best receiver,
Yep.
and with Patrick, kind of something with the ankle,
Right.
right? I mean, that's the thing that sticks out to me. All that
Yeah.
and playing on a tier above. It really does seem like I think you used the term when we were chatting in the press box, like they're playing a different game.
Yep. And maybe in exchange for that, they were not allowed to score on any of the other possessions. We'll give you those 4 and look crazy good doing it, but you can't score on any other possessions. So, all right, with that, we are going to get out of here. Big thanks to Big O Tires for sponsoring this thing. Big thanks to Rich Sugg for spinning the dials and shooting this. So we'll get a pregame Facebook Live together soon. I bet next week at Arrowhead. I bet we do. We've had technical difficulties each of the 2 weeks that we're on the road. Coincidentally, 2 of the worst stadiums in Jacksonville and Oakland. So, with that, we will see you guys this week, Facebook Live on Thursday from Big O Tires in Kansas City. Hey, it's Blair. Hey, we have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners: unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns we have to offer. And it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. For your convenience, your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. A lot of subscription services won't tell you that. They'll just sneak it on there. We just told you. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.